G'day and welcome to the best of Trent365. Today is episode 997 of the show, which means in just a few days we're going to hit that magical milestone of 1,000 episodes. So for the next few days leading up to that, I wanted to go back and share a few episodes from the past that you may have missed that have, I think, a particular relevance to the current situation that we're in right now. So what I'm going to do over these next few days, share a few of those episodes. I'll put links to all those episodes in the comments below so you can go back and check them out if you like. And then on Wednesday, the 26th of August, in just a few days, we will hit that 1,000 milestone. We'll have a few special things to announce on that day. But for now, let's kick off with a few of the best of Trent365. Now, you have to excuse me while I read this because there's a lot to talk about. Episode 142 on April the 20th, 2018, I spoke about retail first. And what I spoke about in that episode was the fact that bricks and mortar retail is struggling, obviously. And that hotels and spas in particular, and frankly any business that does have a brick and mortar footprint, does have a physical footprint, could become a retail first kind of business. Not just spa retail, skincare retail, any kind of retail. So the idea of retail first, I think, is as relevant today as it ever was. Retail outlets, retail stores are in as much trouble as ever. They're all trying to go online. But bricks and mortar is not going to be dead. Those that do have a footprint, if you've got a business that's got a footprint, think about how you can reach out to other retailers, either like-minded retailers or not, and see if you can maybe somehow share your footprint with them. So I think retail first is still a strong strategy moving into this uncertain future. Pop-ups is the next one. Pop-up concepts, pop-up stores, been around for a while, and some would say that they've actually become a little bit outdated, a little bit passé. I'm a massive fan of the pop-up, and I think, again, in today's world, pop-up stores, pop-up concepts are more relevant than ever. Nobody knows what the future is going to hold. How can we possibly know? So instead of putting all your eggs in one basket, play around with some pop-ups. Now, I was such a big fan of the pop-up concept that I've spoken about it several times. I didn't realize how many. Episode 80, 82, 168, 228, 256, 270, 281, and most recently in episode 586 in July 2019, I spoke about how I answered the question, addressed the question about whether they are indeed passé, whether pop-ups have had their run. And I think the answer is no, I don't think so. Again, more than ever in this current time, pop-ups, play around with the concept of popping up business ideas and business concepts and see what happens. Then you can think about doubling down, but not before. I think it's a great strategy. Episode 273, August the 31st, 2018, I spoke about how a little validation can kill. And the point of that episode, which I think again is relevant today, is that oftentimes we so badly want our thing to succeed that what we can do is search for any signs of validation and hang on to them, and we get just enough validation to keep going, but ultimately we just end up going too far down the road that we're never going to really succeed on. I think what we need to spend more time focusing on is finding a way to prove categorically that this thing has to survive. Prove categorically that our marketing strategy works. Don't seek out and hold on to those little bits of validation, because those little bits of validation can lead you down to continue going down a path where in fact you should have stopped a bit earlier. So I think that's an important lesson right now, because again, we're all seeking validation. We're all looking for hope. And you know, I think if you hang on to little validation signs too strongly, I think you lose your objectivity. I think that can be dangerous. And now finally today, we want to talk about the idea of the market in your gap. Episode 284 on September 11th, 2018, I think it was, 2018. We all understand this idea of identifying a gap in the market. That's great. If there is a gap in a market that is not being serviced, if you can fill that gap, then you have a business. The problem is you may not have enough of a business. Just because there is a gap in the market does not necessarily mean that there is a market in that gap. It doesn't mean that there's enough people in that space to make a business out of it. So again, at a time like this, when we're all looking for the next idea, we're all looking for something to give us hope for the future, identifying a gap in the market is fantastic, but you've got to be really analytical and really critical about whether in fact there is a market in the gap. Not just a gap in the market, is there enough of a market in that gap? Right, so that's it for today. I'll put a link to all those episodes in the comments below. As I said, Wednesday, the 26th of August, special episode, 1000th episode, have a few special announcements. And you know what happens from here. I thank you for your time, and I will be back again tomorrow. See ya.